Hey guys, okay, welcome to my Pilates for Cyclists class, okay? It's a Mat Pilates class. It's going to be 1 hour with me. You don't really need much today, okay? If you have a mat and you're on hardwood floor, you're all set. If you're on carpet, that's beautiful too. I am going to be using a long red resistance band today. Now, this is not something I know you easily have laying around your house. If you have any sort of resistance band at all, grab it, as long as it's really long, okay? A little booty band isn't gonna work, but a long resistance band, even if it's in a loop, grab it, that'll work for this, okay? If you don't have anything like this at home, don't worry about it. You can do all these exercises without it, and I will talk you through that. You can also use a really long scarf or a belt if you wanna try using something at home, okay? So make sure you have that handy, and you can see whether you use it or not when we get along to those exercises. I will talk you through it if you have nothing, okay? All right, so with, specifically this class is geared towards my cyclists. So in cycling, right, you tend to overwork certain muscle groups. And so I'm not gonna be able to target everything in one hour class, but I wanted to hit some of the major groups. So your quads and your hip flexors get overworked so much when you cycle. So those muscles tend to get really tight and knotted up, and you need to loosen them, stretch them, lubricate them, open yourself up to be able to perform better. Okay, so there's a whole nother part where I'm gonna target more postural work, because you tend to be rounded, hunched over, the neck, the spine. So kind of targeting that whole piece will be another class. But today we're really gonna work on those quads and those hip flexors, okay? The glutes a lot of times get underutilized, so we're gonna work on strengthening those today. Strengthening those glutes, working on loosening up those hamstrings, those hip flexors. Okay, and so we're gonna be a little bit more lower body focused today. Now the core also gets underutilized, and you know in Pilates, the core is the main piece, okay? Everything generates from that center, or your powerhouse at the center of your body. All your appendages, your arms, your legs, they are an extension of the core. So I'm gonna focus on you working from the core today, and we're really gonna strengthen that area. So right after we do our tiny little warm-up of roll downs, we're gonna go right into a deeper warm-up of core activation, okay? All right, so join me. 1 hour, we'll get this done, and hopefully you'll feel so much better after. All right, so we're gonna stand with those feet just underneath those hips. My feet are about 4 inches apart, and they're parallel right underneath those hip bones, okay? We're gonna bring those arms up and overhead on a nice big inhale. You're gonna exhale as you nod that chin, rounding the spine, and you're rolling all the way down to the floor, getting that nice big stretch through the back line of the leg. I already feel it. I hope you're already feeling that too. You should feel a nice big stretch all the way from the heel, up the calf, the hamstring, into that glute. Okay, holding it right here. With every exhale breath, I want you to see if you can get a little closer to the floor. Straighten those knees just a little bit more. Now holding it here, we're gonna softly bend that right knee. Bring it back to straight, softly bend that left knee. Bringing it back, try to release the toes. If they're gripping, just release them, let them relax on the floor. I'm pedaling out each knee, alternating legs. It's a little tiny micro bend, so I'm keeping my heel connected to the floor. With each little bend, I get a deeper stretch through that straight leg, okay? So letting that go, holding it here for 4. Good, last 3, last 2. Good, once those legs are both straight again, your inhale breath is gonna carry you all the way back up to standing. I want you to think about rolling up through the spine, like you're stacking the spine like building blocks. Head is the last thing to roll up. Let's bring those arms back up and overhead one more time. Exhale, nod that chin, round the spine. This is our last one, so let's make it really deep. Let that exhale carry you all the way down to the floor, holding it there. If it felt good to pedal out those knees the first time, go ahead and bring it back. If it feels good just to hold them nice and straight, go ahead and stay there. You're here for 4. Good, last 3, last 2. On your next inhale, you're gonna roll, stacking that spine like building blocks, rolling one vertebrae at a time. Letting that tailbone stay heavy. Head is the last thing to roll back up. Nice job, you guys. All right, we're gonna hit the mat right away and get some core activation going. So, coming down onto your hands and knees. Your wrists are gonna be just underneath those shoulders. You want the shoulders, the elbow, and the wrists nice and stacked. My knees just underneath those hips, okay? So that beautiful 4-point kneel. I want you to go ahead and slightly externally rotate those arms. So the palms are gonna be slightly angled outbound. You're gonna think about spiraling your bicep forward so that little crease of your elbow is shining more forward than it is inward. Okay, spread those fingertips nice and wide, and I want you to think about a little suction cup right at the center of your palm. Shins are heavy on the floor, and we're gonna keep those toes tight, nice and flat. So we don't wanna tuck them under. We wanna keep them nice and flat today because I want you to stay out of those quads. Okay, we're gonna work all core here. So you're gonna give me a nice exhale to prepare. Broaden those collarbones, send your shoulder blades around your ribs. On your inhale, you're gonna hover those knees 1 inch off the floor by drawing your belly button up and in underneath those ribs. Find that lift from your core. Draw those ribs together like a book, like you're closing a book. Good, shoulder blades wrap the ribs. Pull those shoulder blades down your back. You're holding it here. This little hover, we're here for 8. Good, first 7. Last 6. You got this. Good, you're here for 4. Last 3. Good, last 2. You should be trembling a little bit. And go ahead and set those knees down super soft. Okay, hold it here. We're gonna go 3 more times just like that. Okay, really firing up that core. You should start to get pretty warm. Let's exhale to prepare. Broaden the collarbone. Okay, lifting up between those shoulder blades. We're gonna take a nice little inhale. How light can you make those feet as you hover the knees off the floor? Think about your core holding you up rather than those feet. Okay, those toes are nice and flat so you don't have a ton of support there. I really want your quads to stay relaxed. Think about that belly button pulling up and in. Good, can you narrow those inner thighs without closing them? Pull them up and into the low belly. You're here for 8. Good, first 7. First 6, you should be feeling pretty warm. Last 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Slowly set those knees down 2 more times just like that. And become a professional at core activation, okay? So I want you to really feel this. The more we do it, the more you're gonna get deep into that core. Exhale to prepare. Inhale, hover those knees 1 inch off the floor and hold. Hold and breathe. Don't hold your breath. I want you to be looking at the floor, okay? So the back line of the head is nice and long. Okay, we're not looking down at our knees. I want you to look straight down at the floor. Good, you're here for 8. For 7. For 6, keep those knees really close to the floor. For 4. Last 3. Last 2. Set those knees down super soft. Last 1, guys, last 1. I know, reset if you need to reset. Really think about lifting up out of those shoulders. Okay, here we go, exhale. Inhale, hover, hold. Hover and breathe. My knees are no more than 1 inch off the floor. I'm gonna think about narrowing my inner thighs. Good, I'm gonna funnel my ribs into my pelvis. I'm gonna pull that belly button up and in like a little hammock. You're here for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, last 4, last 3, last 2, and set those knees down, guys. So good. Go ahead and sit back if you need to. Roll out those wrists. Okay, we're gonna stay in this 4-point kneel position, but we're gonna be pretty light on the wrists. I'm gonna get you more into that posterior chain, working the glutes and those abductors. Okay, so what brings that leg outbound? So we're gonna bring ourselves down back into that 4-point kneel, wrists directly underneath those shoulders. Find that nice little lineup. Spiral those biceps slightly forward, okay? We're gonna start with the right leg today. So we're gonna reach the right leg back by scraping the mat with the top of our foot. Lift the leg up for a little lift. Bring it down, slide the knee back under. Okay, inhale, take it out, lift that leg up. Bring it down, slide the knee back under the hip. So right here, I want you to focus on how long you can keep that knee on the floor before it starts to lift up to pick up that leg. Okay, it's a smooth glide in and out. My toe is pointed. I'm working in parallel. Okay, so that means my toes are shining straight down. I'm working on that movement of the femur bone in that hip socket. Okay, so that psoas muscle is responsible for moving this leg in and out. It's attached to that femur bone at the top of the hip. Good. That psoas muscle is the base, the bottom part of that core. So that's really important here. It's all initiating. We're holding that belly button up and in. Good. As you get that glide down, you can pick up the speed just a little bit. Good. Not a lot. I really want you to focus. This should be trembly here. Good. Now, as you bring that leg up, I don't want it to come so far up that you start to dump into the low back and bend those arms. Okay. I want you to stay in that beautiful 4-point kneel. Low back does not get compressed. We hold that nice flat back as I lift that leg up. Good. Holding it here. On the next one, you're going to hold that leg up. Let's go ahead and flex that foot. And now we're going to lower and tap our toes and lift up with the flexed foot. Tap the toes, lift up with that flexed foot. Okay, so that heel is driving up and down. That foot is very flexed. That's going to get you more into that glute med. Right at the center of the booty, right there. That's where I want you to feel it, right at the center right glute. Good. Little lift. Good. Still I'm not letting my shoulders collapse or my shoulder blades wing out. Okay, my core is engaged. Good. You're here for 4. Good. Last 3. Last 2. On your next one, you're going to hold it up there. Now we're going to point that toe again, and we're going to go for a bird dog position. So I'm going to lift and extend my left arm out. Now in this position, I want you to focus on holding center. So I've got a lot of weight in my right hand and in my left shin. That's how I'm holding this bird dog position. From here, both arm and leg are going to pulse up. So little lift up, up. It's not big. I want you to think about a stretch on the front of the body, all the way from those left fingertips out your right big toe. Okay, think about lengthening the front of the body. We're working on that diagonal sling. So that left shoulder connected to that right inner thigh. Find that lift. Good. You're here for 4. You should be pretty warm. Last 3. Little shaky. Last 2. Good. On your next one, hold it up there. Now we're going to take that arm and leg out to the side. So left arm, right leg open to the side just a bit, making half of an X. And then we bring it back in. Good. Open it up. What is your core doing? Is it still nice and tight? Commit to tightening that belly button up and into the spine. Good. Lifting up out of your right shoulder. We're staying center. You should be pretty shaky by now. Holding it here. I want you to feel all of this generate from the core, from the middle of your body. Last 4. Last 3. You've got it. Last 2. One more. Good. Bring it back to center and lower it all down. Okay, so we're going to stay right here. Take a minute to roll out your wrists if you have to. We're going to work on those abductors a little bit. So we're going to take that right leg up and out, a bent leg, okay? So flex that foot. That right foot is going to flex. We're going to take that right leg up and out for a little lateral lift and bring it back under. Up and out, little lateral lift and bring it under. Now, I do not care how high your leg goes. What I want you to focus on is not dumping your weight into the stabilizing leg, that left knee. We don't want to dump our weight there. So keep your weight centered. Keep that pelvis quiet. Okay, foot is flexed. Good. You're here for 4 more. Okay, here we are. 4. Good. Last 3. Hold your weight center. Last 2. Core is super tight. That's how we do that. On your next one, you're going to hold that leg up there. Foot is flexed. Give me a little pulse up, up, up. Little lift from the top side of that right glute. Okay, top side right there. Give me that little lift. Good, keep pulling that belly button up and in for 6. Good, for 5. Last 4. Good, 3. Last 2. And lower it all the way down. Okay, getting a little deeper into that right glute. We're gonna come down into our forearms. Okay, from here, keep staying lifted out of the shoulders, all right? I don't want you to dump and collapse. We're gonna stay lifted. Right leg is gonna continue to work. We're gonna take that bent leg up and back now. Foot is flexed, right foot. Right foot goes up and back, leading with the heel, and then I bring it back under my hip. Inhale, up and out, up and back, and then bring it under the hip. Okay, so I'm moving from that hip crease, okay, right where the leg joins the pelvis. Good, I'm moving that femur bone through that hip socket to bring that leg up and back. Good, leading with your heel. Good, feeling this at the center of the glute, that's where you should feel it. Good, holding it here. Good, intentional movement, guys, moving with intention and not just flying through this. That's what makes this work so powerful. Good, so I want you to think about each movement you do and where you're feeling it in your body. Find that connection, that's what Pilates is all about. Keep that belly button pulled up and in. You've got 3 more here. Good, last 2. Notice how I'm keeping my low back flat. On your next one, you're gonna hold that leg up and back, flex that foot, little pulse up, up, up. You should also feel this in your stabilizing leg, that left glute. That's working too, okay? Little lift. Driving through the heel, find that little deeper contraction on that right glute. Good, belly button's pulled up and in. You're here for 6. Good, for 5, for 4, last 3, last 2, and bring it all the way back under you guys. So good. All right, come on up. We're gonna grab that resistance band now. So again, if you don't have a band, no big deal. If you have a long scarf or a belt, great. You can give that a try and see if that works for you, okay? It's gonna give you a little extra support as we work. So you're gonna lie all the way down. Just looking at my list, making sure I don't forget anything today. Lie all the way down. Okay, we're in that supine position. Now, I'm gonna slide forward so you guys can see me real good. Take that band, if you have it, belt, scarf, whatever you've got, or nothing at all, around the arch of the right foot, okay? My right hand is gonna hold on to the tails of this TheraBand. Okay, so I got that leg straight up towards the ceiling. Now, in this position, you know what, lower that leg down for me just for a second because we're already shaky. So I want you to find that neutral spine before we continue on. You want to think about your tailbone. Press the tailbone into the mat. Okay, both hip bones, they need to be shining straight up for the ceiling. That's your neutral pelvis. That will give you a tiny little lift in your low back. That's good. That's the natural curvature of your spine. We do not want to press the low back into the mat because that just took me into a posterior tilt where those hip bones roll back, okay? So we don't want to do that. We want to hold a neutral spine. So just relax for a minute into your mat and find that position. Belly button is going to be nice and tight by drawing it up and in between your shoulder blades, so find that pull. Okay, grab those tails of that band or belt or scarf or nothing with your right hand. If you have nothing, your right hand is going to be down on the floor. Let's take that right leg up to the ceiling, okay? And now I'm going to hold an isometric bicep curl if I've got a prop. That means my right elbow is going to stay glued to the floor, okay? From here, we're going to take that right leg. We're going to lower it down to the floor. Okay, and then we're going to bring it right back up. That leg is in parallel, okay? It's not an external rotation or internal, so I want you to focus on those toes shining straight up to the ceiling. As you draw that leg up, I want you to think about that inner thigh being really close to the belly button, okay? Meaning I don't want the leg to go out here, okay? I want it to be directly over your hip. Good. Holding that neutral pelvis, I'm only bringing the leg up as far as I can without rolling back and dumping into my low back, okay? So I want you to find that neutral position and hold it, maintain that. I feel that right here is where I can maintain a neutral pelvis. You notice it's not here because I just pressed my low back into the mat. Okay, so this is my top range of motion. And then we go back down from here. Good. Pretty shaky on that right arm, right? Holding that isometric bicep curl. Good. That right leg is shaking too because I'm feeling it through the inner thigh by keeping that inner thigh close to the midline. We've got 2 more here. Okay, last one. We're going to hold that leg now down in a hover. So it's in a flexed foot position. If you've got nothing, your arm is still down, you're just holding that foot flexed about 2 inches over the mat. From here, we're going to take that right leg and we're going to bring it out to the side. And now we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it out to the side. And now we're going to bring it back. Good. So abductors, take it out. Adductors, take it back in. Okay, so I want you to feel that glute turn on as you take that leg out. Once you feel it turn on, let that inner thigh draw it back. Good. All the way up into that psoas muscle and that low belly. Good. Holding that belly button up and in nice and tight. Good. Keep that leg close to the floor. I was starting to drift upward. Good. You're here for 4 more. Good. Last 3. Last 2. Good, you guys. Okay, on the next one, we're going to hold it right off the hip. It is straight forward, my right leg. I'm now going to bring that knee in for a 90-90 bend, and then I'm going to take it back out to hover over the floor. I'm going to bring it in, find a good position with your band, and then send it back out. Okay, so I've got that knee coming in so it stops directly over my hip. Then I take my flexed foot and I bring it back out to that hover. I bring that knee and I stop it over the hip. I get my shin parallel with the floor and then I take that leg back out, holding that neutral pelvis. Okay, watch for that position. If you are maintaining that neutral pelvis, you should feel shaky. Okay? All that connective tissue is working to stabilize. Good, you guys, staying here. You're here for 4. We got a few more layers. Good, last 3. Keep that foot nice and flexed. Last 2. Okay, we got 1 more on the next one. You're going to hold that knee bent over the hip, so it's in that 90-degree bend. Shin parallel with the floor, knee over the hip. Get that femur bone to sink into the pelvis. From here, maintaining your neutral pelvis, you're going to tip your right knee in towards your belly button, okay? Extend the leg from this internal rotation, bring it back in, and bring it back to parallel. Tip it in, internal rotation. Take the leg out with that flexed foot. Bring it back in, tip it back to parallel. Okay, so we're working through a little deeper internal rotation. It should feel pretty shaky as you extend that leg. Good. Maintaining that heavy tailbone. I want you to feel that alignment in your body. So a lot of times when I teach these classes, I get lost in the feeling of the movement. Okay, so I tend to get a little carried away, especially when I'm doing it with you because I'm feeling it in my own body. And I want you to feel the same thing I'm feeling. So I cue a lot, but you've got to find that connection for yourself, okay? I want you to really think about that intentional movement right now. We've got 2 more here. That right leg should be feeling tired. Good. Last one, internal, extend, full extension. Don't hold the baby bend in the knee. Bring it back. And bring it back to parallel. Now keeping that leg there, let's take that leg straight out at that 45-degree angle. So I'm about, I don't know, 1.5 feet, maybe less over the floor. Got that flexed foot. We're going to take that leg now and we're going to externally rotate and bring it back to parallel. Externally rotate, that means my toes are angling out at a 45, but I'm angling from the top of my hip and then I swivel that leg back to parallel. You should be able to see that in my body. I'm rotating the entire leg from the top of the hip and then bringing it back to parallel. Good. Rotate, open, close it back to parallel. Good. So we worked on internal rotation with that knee tipping in and that extension. Now I want you to work through that external rotation. Okay, so really finding the swivel of the femur bone out in that hip. Good. Maintaining that neutral pelvis and that tight core. Good. You're here for 4 more. Good. Last 3. Last 2. Good. And last 1. Find that deep external and bring it back to parallel. Go ahead, bring that leg down, guys. So good. All right, come on up. Now, we're going to work with both legs in that band. Again, if you have nothing at all, that is fine. Even a belt and a scarf may not work here because of the way we're going to wrap the band. So, if you've got nothing, we're going to do the same movement. It's really not going to change that much. You're going to take that band under the arches of both feet. Now, cross the band into a little X over the top. You're going to take both tails of that red band now, and you're going to bring it between your feet and loop it back under those arches. So now you've got a nice supported band over those feet. Okay, so that's how we're going to work. You're going to come down onto your back in that supine position again. Tailbone is heavy. We're going to find that neutral pelvis. Okay, lengthen those legs all the way out. And if you have a band, you've got the tails of the band in your hand. We're going to hold 2 isometric bicep curls with those arms. Elbows are glued down. Now, we're going to work bending both knees into a 90-90 bend. So, maintaining that neutral pelvis, we're going to bring those legs up, bend them in, 90-degree bend, stop them over the hips, and then send them out at a 45. Bring those legs back in, and then send them out. Now, if I've got nothing, I'm going to let go of my band for a minute, same exact movement, okay? Same exact movement. You're going to get a lot more core work with nothing, okay, too, because you don't have the support of that band, all right? But you can work it the same way, extending those legs and then bringing them back in, stopping those knees over the hips. These legs should feel shaky. You should feel shaky all the way from the center of your body. You'll probably see my whole body trembling. Good. So, intentional movement. I want you to think about driving those flexed feet out from the center of your glutes. All right, so we're working on strengthening that area with the support of the band. Okay, we're sure to stay out of the hip flexors. So if you have nothing, I want you to make sure that you're not gripping with your hip flexors. All right, make sure you feel it. If that's the case, you might want to pick your legs up a little bit, okay? But we want to find that neutral pelvis, okay? Here we are. Good, we're here for 4 more. Finding full extension of both legs. Last 3, no baby bend in the knee. We don't want to lock out the joint, but we want to fully extend. Good, last 1. You're going to hold those knees bent now. They are directly over the hip. Find that along. Keep those feet 4 inches apart and parallel. Okay, from here, we're going to send those heels out 1 inch and in. Out and in. Okay, I want you to feel this movement now. Intentionally come from the center of your glute. Your glute is sending your heels out 1 inch and drawing it back in. Your sits bones, they narrow to extend the legs to 1 inch, and they broaden and fan out to bring the legs back in. So I want you to feel that bone rhythm at the center of your glute. Good, really shaky here. Shaking is good. That's all that connective tissue working, all that fascia. You're here for 6. I want you to find that shake. You're here for 4. Good. Last 3. Last 2. Good, you guys. On your next one, you're going to hold it right there. Let's take those legs all the way back out and down to the floor. Now, one more thing here. We're going to find first position with those legs. That means heels are glued together, toes are turned out like you're making a little V with your feet. Okay. Okay, heels are gonna stay glued together, and we're gonna do that same movement. So let's pick those legs back up, bring those knees in and over the hips, and now zip up those inner thighs as the heels stay glued together. Open up, bring those knees over the hips. Now, the knees are over my hip bones. They are not all the way out here, and my heels are down. Get those shins parallel to the floor. Zip up the inner thighs as you extend, and then bring it back in. All that intentional movement I want you to think about. Good, broadening at the sits bones. Narrowing the sits bones to zip up the inner thighs. Heels are super glued together. They do not separate. That is your midline connection. I want you to feel that all the way up the center of your body as you zip up those inner thighs. Pull that belly button up and in. Good, exhale. Inhale, send it out. Good, exhale, pull it back. Inhale, lengthen it out. Good, last 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Give me one more. On your next one, you're going to bring it in. Knees are bent directly over those hips. Find that perfect alignment. Heels are still glued together. Here we go, that 1-inch pulse out. Intentional movement from the center of the glute. Core is super tight. I want you to feel that entire back of the leg working. Good. Heavy tailbone. Glute should feel tired. Good, you've got it. Core is super tight. Good, keeping that little lift in my low back. I'm here for 6. Good, for 5. Don't let those heels separate. For 4. Good, last 3. My shins are still parallel with the floor. Last 2. And bring it all the way in, guys. So good. Come on up. Let's take that red band off those feet. And we're going to go on to work that left leg now, all right? So, left leg gets that red band underneath the arch of the foot. Okay? Sure. Always make sure, I don't want to forget anything, so I write it all down so we have everything. All right, here we go. We're going to do that same movement, that single leg movement on the other side, and then we'll move on to that 4-point kneel. So, lying all the way down onto your back. Okay, both legs are nice and long. I'm going to take that band into my left hand. Okay, my left hand is now holding an isometric bicep curl. If I've got nothing, the hand is just down on the floor. Both arms are long, okay? So find that position for yourself. Find that neutral spine. Connect to your level pelvis. Okay, press the tailbone down. We're going to exhale as we bring that leg up. Inhale as you lower it back down. Exhale, bring it up, keeping that neutral pelvis, and then lowering it back down. Make sure that little lift in your low back doesn't change as you move through this work. And I promise you, I know there's a lot of cues to listen to, but if you're listening to my cues and you're following, you're going to have a better chance of finding that shake and that connection without letting those things happen. Excellent, guys. In other modalities, we don't tend to think about those tiny little postural corrections that can make a really big difference in how our body moves. Good, bringing it up to your fullest range of motion, maintaining that pelvis. Good, 4 more here. Inhale it for length. Exhale, bring that leg up. Inhale, bring it down. Last 2. My foot is flexed so I don't lose that band. Okay, guys, good. On your next one, you're going to be bringing that leg down and it's going to maintain a little hover. Okay, it's hovering just over the floor. We're going to take that left leg out to the side and bring it back in. Take it out to the side, maintaining stability through the rest of your body, and then I bring it back with that inner thigh, low belly. Good. Feel that glute turn on, and then bring that leg back to your midline. Everything's nice and stable. Good. Keeping that heel nice and low to the ground. Without the support of that band, that core is working double time, okay? So I really want you to focus on keeping that belly button up and into the spine. If you need to take a minute to reset and re-engage the core, take that time. That's important rather than letting the ribs flare and losing that core connection. See how my low back lifted? All that's going to do is cause problems, pain, possibly injury. So I want you to take that time to reset. You've got 4 more here. Feeling pretty shaky through that left side. Good. Last 2. Good. Last 1. Good. Bring it back to that midline. So I'm parallel with that left leg. We're going to bend that knee into that 90-90 bend, keeping that shin parallel with the floor. Heel drives out back to that hover. Bring that leg back in for that 90-90 bend, finding the alignment of the left knee over the left hip, and then send it back out. Good. Keeping that inner thigh close to the belly button. I want to hold that midline connection. Good. Not letting that leg go into external rotation here. External rotation is so comfortable for so many of us. So we don't want to let the body take over with that. Fight for that parallel position. Finding that alignment. You should be able to feel the point where that femur bone fits right into that hip socket, falls right down in there, and then you're able to send it out from the center of that glute. Good. You've got 4 more. Last 3. Good. Last 2. Good. On your next one, you're going to be holding that knee bent and that 90-90 position. We're going to go for that internal tip. So we're going to tip that left knee in towards the center of our body. Extend the leg from that point. Bend it back in and take it back to parallel. Internally rotate, extend the leg, bring it back, open it back up, internal. Extend through the heel, find that full extension. Don't hold a baby bend in the knee, bring it back, back over the hip. Good, internal, extend, it should feel shaky on that extend. Good, and bring it back, 4 more. Good. Last 3. Good, you guys. Last 2. Hold that core nice and tight. Good. On the next one, holding it right there over the hip. Let's take that leg out at a 45-degree angle. Now we're going to work on that external rotation. We're going to swivel that leg outbound and then bring it back. Swivel so the toes angle out at a 45, and then you bring that leg back. I don't want your foot and your ankle to move by itself. The movement is generating from the top of your hip. I want you to feel that whole leg rotate like it's a skewer. Okay, find that movement in your body. Work on generating it from the right spot. Again, that intentional movement is so important in Pilates. Good. Keeping that neutral pelvis, realign, reset if you have to. Good. Holding it here. You've got 4 more. Good. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. And bring it all the way down, guys. Woo, so good, so good. All right, coming on up. We're going to take that 4-point kneel on the other side. If we have some time for that red band a little more at the end, I will bring it back for some more core work, but let's see what we can do. Okay, let's come down to that 4-point kneel again. I am going to turn around and face this way so you can see my left leg work. My hands are directly underneath those shoulders, okay? No more props right now, just your own body weight. Spread those fingertips nice and wide and let's spiral those biceps forward. Find that little suction cup in the center of your palms. Make sure your knees are 4 inches apart and parallel. You're going to take that left leg now and we're going to slide it back. How long can you keep that knee connected to the ground? And bring that leg up. Bring it back down and slide it back in. Good. Maintaining a neutral pelvis. We're not going to let that left side dip towards the floor. We're going to keep it level with the right hip. We're also not going to dump all of our weight into that right leg. We're going to keep it centered. Good, so as you bring that leg up and back, that toe is pointed, we feel a deeper contraction at the center of the glute. Good, feel that opening on the front side of the left body. Opening up that C crease. My lift is not so big, my eyes are straight down at the floor. Keeping that nice flat back, send those shoulder blades down and around your ribs. Good. You're here for 4 more. Good. Last 3. We're going to do that flex lift in 2. Good. On your next one, we're going to bring that leg up and out, and we're going to hold it right there, up and back. Flex that foot, and now we're going to bring it down, tap the toes, bring it back up. A little deeper contraction through the center of the glute by flexing that foot. I want you to feel that shift in your body. Pull that belly button up and in to the spine. You want to pull that belly button between your shoulder blades, like I'm pulling it out your back. Good, holding that neutral pelvis. We worked so good on that, lying on our back. I want you to maintain that same kind of posture now. Good. You're here for 4. Good, last 3, we're going to come into that bird dog. Last 2. On your next one, you're going to hold that leg up. Let's recommit to a pointed toe. Okay, it doesn't have to be a super point, it's just a nice soft foot. Okay, we're going to take that right arm up and out for that bird dog position. I've got a heavy left palm and a heavy right shin. I'm holding it there. Okay, broaden your collarbones, recommit to that, draw that belly button up and in. Now my right arm and my left leg pulse up. Little lift, up, 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 up. Good. Think about lengthening through the front of the body. That diagonal swing, right shoulder to left inner thigh. Find that reach through the core. You should feel this all from the center of your body. Good. You're here for 4. Last 3. Good. Last 2. On your next one, hold it up there. Now we're going to take right arm, left leg out a bit. Make half of an X. Bring it back. You should feel that right waistline kick in a little bit more. Good. Open and bring it back. Feel what's happening in your body. Good. If I say you should feel your right waistline, I want you to intentionally shift your mind there. Good. Take it out. Bring it back to center. Good. Open it up. Good. 4 more. Maintaining control through center. Last 3. Good. Last 2. Last 1. And bring it all the way in. Whew, so good. All right, we're going to come into that lateral lift of that bent leg. So if you need a minute to roll out your wrist, go ahead. Hold that position there, maintaining 4 inches apart and parallel with our knees, okay? We're going to take that left leg up and out. So let's flex that left foot. We're going to laterally lift it out and bring it back. Open, feel the top left side of that glute, and bring it back. Good, and bring it back. Good, it doesn't look like much, right? But when you shift that intention into the right part of your body and work from the center, should become shaky fast. Good. You got it, guys. You got it. Good. Nice control. Okay, we're not shifting our weight. We're staying center. Everything else stays quiet as I work this leg. Good. You're here for 4. Good. Last 3. Good. Last 2. On your next one, holding it up there. Okay, little pulse. Little pulse. Does not matter how high that leg is. What matters to me is that your core is still engaged and you are not dumping into that right leg. Keep your weight equal between both palms right now. Good. Tighten that core. You've got it. You're here for 4. Good. Last 3. Last 2. And bring it all the way back under you. Nice job, you guys. Come down onto those forearms. Okay, forearms are going to come down now, and we're going to work a little bit deeper into that glute. So, forearms are down. Okay, still got those elbows directly underneath my shoulders. Gonna flex that left foot. Here we go. We're gonna take that left leg up and back and bring it back under you. All the way up and back. Bigger contraction through the left glute, and then I slide that knee back up under me. Good. I draw that femur bone back up into the hip as I bring the leg in, and then I open up that C-crease as I bring that leg back. Inhale out, exhale in. Inhale, get longer on the front of your body. Exhale, bring it back. Now notice I'm not compressing my low back, so it does not matter how high you bring that leg. I want you to maintain that neutral pelvis. Draw that belly button nice and tight. Don't let your ribs open up. They're closed like a book. You're here for 4 more. Good. Last 3. Last 2. Good. On your next one, you're going to hold it up there. Foot is flexed. Let's drive a deeper contraction through that left glute. It is small because we're still maintaining core. Okay? Tiny little pulse up. The center of your left glute should be tired. Yes, it should. Mine is tired. Good. You're here for 6. Good. For 5. Yes. Good. For 4. Last 3. Where's your weight? Don't dump into that right leg. Last 2. And bring it all the way back down. Whoo, stretch out for a little quick child's pose. So good. All right. Let's see what we got for time. All right. We got time for a little quick ab burn with this red band. If you don't have the red band, not necessary. Okay, you can do these roll-ups without it. If you have dumbbells, you can grab those too, because we'll add a little arm work here. But if you do have a band, great. Let's use it right now, okay? Dumbbells are optional when we get into that arm work. Okay, so we're gonna lie all the way down on your back. Hands have a tail of each of the red band. That red band is underneath the arch of both of my feet. My feet are parallel, 4 inches apart. My foot is flexed. Okay, so we're gonna hold that position. Let's take that red band up and over the chest, 2 straight arms, okay? I'm gonna work on keeping that wrist nice and long. Now, if you don't have a band, this is the same position you wanna be in, just without the band, okay? Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Exhale, nod your chin to your chest, and we're gonna start to round the spine all the way up to a fully seated position, lifting up out of the low back. We're gonna do the same thing as we roll down. Tailbone curls under, low back, mid back, upper back, as I slowly roll back down to the floor. Okay, start by nodding your chin for the rounding up. Nod. We're starting the rounding at the base of the skull where the top of the spine starts. So nod your chin, peel that spine off the mat. And bringing it all the way back up, lifting up out of that low back. And then we're going to lower it back down with the same sort of articulation through the spine that we came up with. Even slower, keeping your heels on the floor. Good. Rolling up, peeling yourself off that mat. All the way up to that seated position. You want to be on the tips of your sitting bones at the center of your glute when you're at the top. Rolling back down. Okay, we have 2 more just like this. Tighten that belly button up and in. Keep those legs down. All the way up. Good. Rolling it back down with control. We've got a hold coming up. Good. Roll it up. All the way up. Fully seated at the top. We're going to go halfway down now. So we're going to roll from the tops of our sitting bones. Curl the tailbone under you and the low back and hold it right there. Now we're going to wrap our hands around that band and come into elbows at the waist. Take those arms all the way out in front of you like you're offering a platter of dishes forward. And now we're going to do an isometric bicep curl, or not an isometric bicep curl, but a bicep curl in this isometric hold. Curl and then extend. Good. Contract through the bicep. Good. And then extend. Good. Lengthening that tricep. And now we lengthen the bicep. Good. Holding that belly button up and in this ab curl. I'm holding right here. Now this is where if you didn't have a band, but you did have weights nearby, you could use your weights. That is an option right here. Keep drawing those inner thighs up and into that low belly. You've got a nice tight core. Whole body is working. You're here for 6. Good. For 5. You've got it. Good. Last 4. Woo. Last 3. Good. Last 2. Last 1. Good. Come all the way out with those arms and continue your roll all the way down to the mat. Whew, so good. Okay, guys, it's time to stretch. Let's take that red band, throw it to the side. You're not going to need it anymore. I've got 10 minutes to stretch out with you guys. So we're going to focus on all those areas that tend to get really tight. Now, we worked really hard on strengthening the glutes and those abductors, the core, okay? Now, my cyclists, we get to stretch out those quads, those hip flexors, okay? And we'll get a little bit up into the postural work as well. I definitely want to target that with you, though, on another video, because there's a whole piece there that you'll really love. So, okay, we're going to start in a 4-point kneel. Okay, we're just going to come into a little cat-cow. So, again, that 4-point kneel is wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Knees are 4 inches apart, parallel. I'm looking at the floor. I'm going to exhale as I round and curl, looking at my inner thighs. I'm arcing my spine like a cat. And now I'm going to inhale as I look up in front of me and let my tailbone wag up behind me. Okay, exhale, curl and round through the spine. And now release and articulate in the other direction. Good, 2 more. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, release, tightening that belly button up and in. Exhale, round and curl. Inhale, looking up and releasing. Good, coming back to that 4-point kneel with that flat back. We're gonna tuck those toes under you and you're gonna push up to a down dog. So my head is gonna hang between my arms. My ears are relatively lined up with my bicep. I'm pressing down through my heel to get a nice deep stretch through the back line of the leg. I feel that really heavy through my calves and through my hamstrings. That should feel really good. I want you to think about sending that low belly up towards the sky. Hips are flexed nice and deep, like a little tent. Good, holding it here for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, coming all the way back down. We're going to take our right leg forward now. Okay, so right leg's going to come in front of you. Now you want to get into a position where that right knee is just in front of your ankle. That's the position you're looking for. My left shin is heavy, okay, and that knee is directly underneath my hip. I'm going to think about stretching the left quad. Okay, so I'm going to lean forward. I'm going to slide that left leg back a little bit. I'm going to lean forward so I get that knee just in front of my right ankle. Okay, but now holding there, we're going to take that pelvis and we're going to curl it under you. So I want you to think about that tailbone kind of tucking under you to get a deeper stretch through that left quad. Okay, you should feel that as you tuck the tailbone, the left quad stretches a little deeper. Now take your left arm now, okay, I'm going to reach that left arm up and overhead, reaching those fingertips for the ceiling. So as you curl the tailbone under you, that's giving you a little posterior tilt, right, because those hip bones are going back. You should feel that whole left side of the body stretch a little deeper. Good, holding it there for 4. Good, for 3. For 2. Good, bringing that back down. Now I'm going to step my right leg forward a little bit. We're going to get into the hip flexor a little bit more. So now you're going to let yourself come forward, okay, into that right leg. Now opening up that left hip flexor really deep. I'm sending my left hip bone down towards the floor, okay, and I'm going to hold that right hand on my right knee. I'm going to take my left hand up towards the ceiling again, and now I'm going to start to reach back with that left arm looking up at the ceiling. Okay, you should feel this all the way down through that left hip flexor, all the way through the toes. Good. Holding it there. Good. Think about still tightening that belly button, okay? So we don't want to compress the low back a lot. I want to stay flat there. Good. For 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good. Bring that left arm back down to the floor. Let's switch out those legs. Let's bring that left leg forward. Okay, we're gonna do that quad stretch first. Okay, so my right shin is heavy, my knee is underneath that hip. My left knee, by leaning forward a bit, I get into the position of that left knee in front of my ankle. I'm gonna now tuck that tailbone under me a little bit so that I can get a deeper stretch on that front quad. All right, and now I'm gonna draw that belly button up and in and lift that right arm up and overhead. Should feel a nice stretch all the way down that right side. Holding it there. Breathe, 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 breathe. Active stretching here. Okay, not letting the body do whatever it wants, right? We're really forcing it into this position. You're here for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, bringing it down. Go ahead and walk that shin back a little bit so you can get a little deeper into that hip flexor now. We're gonna really send that right hip towards the floor. Okay, and now from this position, same thing. I'm gonna curl that tailbone just a little bit and I'm take that right arm up and overhead as I look up to the ceiling and giving that little arc back. I feel this all the way, my hip flexor is really open here, guys. That should be a nice little psoas stretch. Good, opening up. Try not to compress that low back too much. Okay, keep that nice and flat. Good, hold that belly button up and in for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, bring it all the way back down. Whew, we're gonna come onto our back, all right? So lying all the way down on your back. Supine position. Okay, we're gonna start with that left leg since we started with it on those quad stretches. We're gonna take that left knee into the chest, give it a nice little hug. Okay, now we're gonna take that left leg up towards the ceiling. All right, that leg is directly over the hip. Okay, find your neutral pelvis. All right, but your low back is gonna press into the mat for this one because I want you to take that shin and draw that left leg as close to your chest as you can. Now, you don't wanna go outbound out here, okay? I want you to keep it into your hamstring. So you're gonna keep it directly over the hip, pulling close to your chest. Now go ahead and flex that foot. You should get a nice shake right here. This does not always feel pretty, but it's a nice big stretch all the way up through the hamstring, back of the knee, the calf. Shoot that heel up for the ceiling. Big, big flex foot for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good. Holding it there. Bringing it back. Okay, we're going to get into the IT band when we stand up, I think. So let's take that right knee and bend the right knee. We're going to take that left ankle over the right leg. Okay, and now I'm going to lace my left hand in that little window between my legs. My hands are going to take my right thigh and pull that in close to my chest. You can use your left elbow to open up that left knee a little bit, and you'll feel that nice deep stretch through the left quad, the left glute. Take your right leg up to the ceiling now, okay? And now as you bend your right knee in, I want you to push that left ankle closer to your chest. Big stretch all the way into that left glute. Should feel really good. Good, holding it here for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, bringing that right leg back down to the floor, both feet hit the ground. Let's take that left leg long now and give that right knee a little hug into the chest. Let's take that right leg up to the ceiling. We're gonna let that low back touch the ground as we pull that right leg in towards our chest. And now we're gonna give that right leg a nice flexed foot, driving that right heel up towards the ceiling as you pull the leg close to the chest, keeping that leg in parallel. Holding it there, really big stretch up the back of that leg. Feels pretty shaky in my body. Good, holding it there for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, let's bring it back down. Let's bend that left knee now and take that right ankle over the left thigh. Lacing those hands around the left thigh, we're gonna pull it in, using my right elbow to open up that right knee just a bit. And now we're going to take that left leg, up towards the ceiling. And now as I bend that left knee, I'm pushing that right ankle closer to my chest. You should feel a really deep stretch that gets all the way deeper into that glute. Good, holding it there for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, bringing that left foot back down to the ground. And now before we get up, I'm going to take you into a quick little spinal stretch. So we're going to take that left leg, we're going to bring it across the body, bent knee, across the body. So my left knee is now on my right side. And I'm going to reach that left arm in the other direction and find that nice spinal twist. Twisting the spine. We didn't do that much today. At all, actually, we didn't do that at all. Good, staying right here for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, bringing it all the way back to center. Let's take that other side. Right knee crosses the body. Taking it over to the left side. Take your right arm out in opposition. Find that nice spinal stretch. Feel really good. Holding it there. Good, holding and breathing. Woo, for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, guys. Okay, now we're going to come on up to our feet, but we're going to stay rounded. We're going to find it nice and slow. So coming onto the feet, staying on the balls of your feet, knees are bent nice and soft. Bring those heels down, and we're slowly going to roll up to a standing position, keeping those knees nice and soft, moving slow. Good, okay, and last couple stretches here. I want to get you into that IT band a little bit, and then into those wrists and forearms. And those shoulders. So you're going to take that right leg now, okay, and we're going to take the right leg behind the body. I want you to find a flat foot though. So that right leg crossed behind my left and I found a flat foot. My right arm now is going to reach up and overhead and I'm going to find a little side bend. A little side bend. So that's going to take you all the way down that right side of the body. Breathing, coming back to center and finding it again. Exhale. Reach, use that exhale to really get a little deeper. It's also a little balance here too. Good, holding it there. Good for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good, coming all the way back to center. Let's take that other side. Left leg comes behind the right. Find a flat foot, 2 straight legs. And we're going to take that left arm up and overhead. Exhale, finding that deeper stretch. Good, holding it here. Good for 4. Good for 3. For 2. I didn't take you out of it on that one, so if you want to get into it one more time, just a little bit deeper, you can. Good for 3. For 2. Good, bring it all the way back, and now we're going to take those arms down by our side. We're going to flex the palms, okay? I want you to reach those heels of the hand. Reach the heels of the hands out towards the sides of the room as you bring those arms up and overhead. My right hand crosses over the top of my left. Okay, and we're going to hold it there and press those palms up to the ceiling. Good, holding it there for 4. For 3. Last 2. Good, bring those arms back down to your side. Last time on the other side, this time my left is going to come over my right. So we're going to reach the heels of the hand all the way up. Left hand comes over the right and press the palms up, keeping them flexed, pressing them up for the ceiling. Good, nice big stretch here for 4, for 3, for 2. Keeping your palms like this, we're going to bring those arms forward now to the front of the body. Good. We're going to release those hands, so bring those hands forward, nice flexed palms, and we're going to bring them out to the side of the body, and then all the way back down to your side, and you are all set. You are all set. So if that's your first time joining me for Mat Pilates, since it was Cyclist inspired, fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to release some areas of the body that needed a release and strengthen other areas that get a little less utilized. But join me again. There will be more, okay? And we'll keep doing it and have lots of fun together. So thank you so much. If you ever have any questions for me, you can always find me on social media at JessPFit. You can send me a DM. I'm happy to answer questions, or you can always post questions below this video on YouTube, and I'll be happy to answer them there as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye. And I hope you enjoyed that first class. And here's my husband in his cycle gear. Okay, he didn't do it. Obviously, he was cycling. See, this is what I mean when it's very important to also integrate Pilates into your routine. Next time, he's going to do this and not that. Okay. Alright guys, so making Pilates a part of your weekly routine is really important just to keep everything moving and working the way the body should, those bone rhythms, those muscles re-lengthening. So join me again. I will see you soon. Nice job.